Hi there, today we've got something slightly different. Instead of a clinical discussion, we've got a little bit more of a sit-down chat and reflective space for me. Today I want to talk about something that I don't speak about very often. It's a book that I wrote in 2019 during one of the hardest times of my life. This book was written before the business, before the podcast, before the confidence, before London. It was written at a time when I was desperate, scared, and honestly just trying to survive each day. When I designed the cover, I wanted it to feel gentle but a mix of reflection on what I was going through, hence the person trying to balance the heart, the brain, and the neurons at the bottom, because they felt so external to my body and kind of foreign. The pink is obviously because it's my favorite color, and I remember trying different software to try and design this so that it would fit on a printable book, and I tried many different things, used the guidelines given by Amazon because that's where I published it, and it was just a fun learning curve and something to dive and put my energy into. Looking at it now, I feel like it represents fragility but also resilience, that strange in-between space where you're not okay but you're still here. You're living in your own head and trying your best to stay positive. I wrote the book in honor of what I went through, and mostly so that hopefully someone could find it and not feel alone during this time of their life, whether it reflects with dysautonomia, POTS, or another chronic condition. For months before writing the book and during feeling unwell, I wrote notes on my phone and laptop to keep track of my symptoms and share with the doctor. I never realized that they would eventually become the basis for this book. In 2019, I was in the hospital for a few days of testing with spinal taps, brain scans, and blood tests, and I met a patient who was in the bed next to me, and she was there for testing of migraines and fainting spells. She had so much confidence, ran her own business, and was determined to figure out what was going on with her. We talked briefly about our health, and I remember her asking me, "So this health issue has affected you? What are you going to do with it? Where do you go from here?" At the time, my answer was, I don't really know, but that's an excellent question. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized I wanted to help more people, because feeling helpless like this can't be the end of it. And so, the idea of turning my experience into a book came about, and since then, a lot has happened. At the time of writing the book, I didn't have a marketing strategy, and I still don't. I kind of put it on Amazon and hope that the right people will find it when they're searching for something like this, and of course didn't know what self-publishing meant. I just knew that the ideas, the thoughts, the experience I had gone through needed to be put somewhere and put what I was carrying onto paper or something that people could read. When I finished the book in 2020, I did reach out to a publisher and I had no idea what I was doing, but I had to give them an introduction and the first couple of chapters to review, and I doubted whether anyone would want to publish a story on a personal chronic illness. And I remember thinking, why would a publisher take a chance on something so specific and so vulnerable? And needless to say, they didn't. But I wanted someone somewhere in the world to be able to find this book and think, someone else is going through this and I'm not alone. So I ended up doing it through Amazon, and it was a really cool experience learning how to do it, editing the pages, figuring out the font, and then doing test runs, ordering the book from probably Amazon US and getting it delivered to South Africa to review it. And it feels pretty cool that it's now on Amazon and Kindle since 2019, and the fact that I've created something that people can find a safe space in and just read when they want to, if they need to, and just have it more accessible. When I wrote this book, I was living with so much fear. I struggled to get through each day. I had to learn how to hand my trust over to other people, which is really hard. Doctors, family, systems that I didn't necessarily choose. And I had this realization that felt brutal at the time, that the outside world keeps going, even when you're removed from it. University continued, people's lives continued. I put myself in a bubble, even if it was just me mentally. And even though my family were there, doing everything that they could to help, I wasn't alone, but I felt incredibly lonely. So I wrote, because I needed to put that somewhere. And if you've experienced the same thing, I hope that this video finds you and that you can relate a little bit and write your own story or read this one. Since writing this book, I've learned so much more. I'm more educated, more experienced, and now I work with people with these conditions every single day. But this book will always be the first raw version of what I went through, unfiltered, unpolished, and honest. Sometimes I wish I could go back to that younger version of me and tell her how proud I am, and she wouldn't believe where life has taken me now. Proud that she kept going, proud that she moved halfway across the world, proud that she became a business owner even when everything tried to knock her down. I don't think she would ever imagine herself sitting here in a flat in London, running a business that helps people. Stressed about visas and the cost of living, yes, but still here. We don't always see how far we've come until we look back. At the time, all I wanted to hear was someone say, "Me too." And the world is a much nicer place when you've got connections, but at the time I didn't really have anyone with the same condition. And that core value is still the reason behind everything I do at the Dizzy Diaries, the podcast, this platform. It's all about helping people feel seen, heard, and understood in a world where it's really easy to get lost. That's what I needed back then, and I'm grateful that today there's more connection and accessibility than there was for me. This video is for the girl who learned how to live, the girl who created Sparkle before she even knew what role it would play in her life, and the girl who kept going despite what life threw at her. I've never done any marketing around this book, and I believe that the right people would find it, and I hope that they have. If you feel like this is relevant to you, have a look for it on Amazon or Kindle and just see if it resonates at all and if you want to read it. This book is a snapshot of what survival felt like at the time, and this video is a reminder that chapters change. Sometimes we just have to hold on for the ride. In the following videos, I might read a few pages or chapters from the book. If that's something you'd like, let me know in the comments and I will get onto it. Bye, see you in the next video.